Hi, and welcome to Noble Character Crafts. My name is Amy, and I'm coming to you today from eastern Nebraska, where I live with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Thursday, August 18th, 2022. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you really enjoy this episode. This is a channel all about my crafty life, and today I have knitting, crocheting, and I finally am going to be having an Etsy shop update with the project bags that I have been making over the last several months. It's been a long time since I've had a shop update in my Etsy shop. So I will go over the project bags that I will be having in my next shop update at the end of the episode if you're interested. You can find me online on Instagram and Etsy at Noble Character Crafts, and you can get in contact with me through my email at noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. I will have links to the places that you can find me in the description box below, as well as the show notes for this episode. I am hosting a year-long make-along on Instagram called the Make 9 2022 Mal, and that's for you to join in the Make 9 challenge, where you can choose 9 projects that you would like to make this year, make a grid of those projects, and anytime that you post a picture of your projects in the making or your finished projects, you can include that hashtag and you will be entered to win a prize, which I draw periodically throughout the year as long as you have that hashtag on the picture that you post on Instagram. So continue to join in. It's a year-long make-along, and you are welcome to join in at any time. You're not required to finish anything, so please continue to join in, and I will have details about that make-along in the description box below if you want a little bit more information about it. I have a few finished objects to share with you all today, the first of which is this baby blanket that I was working on in the last episode, and I'm so pleased with how this turned out. So there you can get an idea of how it looks. I just love it. I think it's turned out so neat. So the pattern that I used is called the Farmhouse Granny Square by Lindsay Oncken Bundle. And I modified it quite a bit because her original pattern, I still forget, last time I said I forgot how many rounds was in the original pattern, and I'm sorry, I still don't have that, but they're a little bit bigger. I think they're about yay big in the original pattern. The original squares are. This is a free pattern, and so I followed her instructions. I just decided to make I originally had thought I would just make the entire blanket one large square, and so that's what I did start with for the middle section. Last time I showed you that I had only gone to this green stripe. In the end, once I had it all laid out, I needed to make that middle square a little bit larger, so I just added one more round using that cream color. So I had a total of 21 rounds for this middle square. And as you can see, it's just a pretty simple closed granny square. There's just these pretty stitches in the corners. I think they're called popcorn stitches, but I could be wrong there again. I'm sorry, I forgot to look that up. But you know, this special stitch in the corner is really the only, you know, different stitch in this pattern. So it's a very simple and really well-written pattern. I highly recommend you checking it out. But then I decided, since the middle square was not laying as flat, or I said last time I really wanted to give it some more structure for the border, so I decided to work up all of these little granny squares using the same pattern, but only doing 4 rounds for each of these squares to add a border around it. And I just think it turned out really cool. I really like how it looks. So it worked out really well. It just fit really nicely. Like I said, I just had to add one more round to the middle square to make it fit wonderfully. So I was able to put 5 squares along each edge and then the 4 corners as well. And it worked out really well. I sewed all of the squares together using a whip stitch going through the back loop of each stitch, you know, working only through the back loops as I did that whip stitch. For the border, I wanted to continue using that popcorn stitch. I hope that's right, what it's called. But anyway, I ended up being able to, it's always kind of a trial and error when I make up my own border because, you know, you want it to lay flat. And so anyway, I had a few trial and errors, but what worked out best was for me to put 7 popcorn. Is that right? I have notes that I put 7, but that's not right. There's 8 popcorn stitches along each square. And then the corners, I did the same, I followed the same pattern for the original square in the corners. And then, yeah, 8 popcorn stitches along each side of the squares. I'll have to change that in my notes so I have that right. So I just continued with that all the way around the border. And then I did a final row with single crochet stitches. I'm using US terms, where I did 2 single crochet stitches in between each popcorn stitch. And then on the corners, I did 5 single crochets in the corners. So that worked out well, and it really does lay nicely. I haven't even steam blocked this yet. I may do that before I gift it. This is going to be a gift. My stepmother asked me to make a couple of blankets for some people that she knows that are having baby boys soon. So this will be going off in the mail to her, and then she'll be gifting it as well. So I just love making baby blankets, so I'm more than happy to make whoever would like one a baby blanket. Let's see, I used quite a few different yarns. They're all worsted weight, primarily acrylic yarn. I went through them in the last episode. I don't think I'll go through them again, but they're just a variety of different yarns, and I just love the color palette and how these colors worked up together. If you're interested, I will be linking all of the colors in the description box below, but I don't think I'll go over them again. I used an H hook, which is 5 millimeters, and yeah, I'm just so pleased with how this turned out. I just really, really love the looks of, you know, just the way that it looks with that border of all the granny squares. And I'm so happy that it turned out how, you know, it was a process in getting to the final result of this blanket. I mentioned last time I had a lot of trial and errors with trying different patterns that weren't working out for me. But I'm really pleased with how this turned out in the end. And yeah, I just think it's great. So I'm excited to get that off in the mail. I was also able to finish this pair of Shortie socks that I was making last time I recorded an episode. I used some of my own hand-dyed yarn for these for the cuff. I cast on 60 stitches using a US 0.2 millimeter needles, and I did a 2x1 ribbing for 15 rounds, then went immediately into a slip stitch heel flap. The colors that I used for the cuff and the main body of the sock were dyed by me in my Dignity colorway and my Love colorway. I don't sell my own hand-dyed yarn anymore, but I used to. And these are just some leftovers that I had in my stash. They're both on a fingering weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. And then I added in for the toe Knit Picks Swish in the Raven Tonal colorway, and that's also a 75-25 base. But I just really like how these worked up. I again added in that slip stitch detail on the ball of my foot, as I always do for my own socks, and that just helps to prevent getting holes in that area of my sock. So I just do a slip stitch pattern very similar to what you would do on a slip stitch heel flap. So every other round I do a slip one, knit one across the bottom of the foot. So I really am happy with how these turned out. My friend Tina reminded me that I had mentioned last time that I had made a pair of socks using this Love colorway a long time ago, and I had thought that I must have worn through them, but she reminded me that I gave them to her. One time I went through all of my socks and gave her a bunch of the socks that I wasn't wearing. I believe for that first pair of socks using this Love colorway, I had put in an afterthought heel, a traditional afterthought heel, and I don't like the way that those fit my feet. So I think that's why I ended up gifting them to her. And she loves wearing them, so that's great. Anyway, I'm really happy with how these turned out. As I've mentioned, I've really enjoyed wearing Shortie socks this summer, so it's great to have another pair in my, collection of socks to wear throughout the summer months. I also finished this table runner. I'm so excited about this. So it's kind of, I knew it was going to be hard to show off on here, but I am really happy with how this turned out. So the pattern for this is called Cobwebs, and it is a pattern by Julia Hart. And I modified this pattern as well. Last time I recorded, I believe I was maybe on this square. I had just finished this square maybe, because I think I was about ready to put in that second spider. The original pattern, well, these first, these first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares are 2 pattern. The original pattern is only supposed to be this wide, and then there's supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4 spiders down the middle, and then it ends with this one, and then it's symmetrical. But it's only this wide for the entirety of the, really it's more like a doily, I guess, than a table runner. So it would only be this long. And I wanted to make it much longer because we have a pretty big dining room table to seat all of our family members, and I wanted to be able to put this on our dining room table as a table runner for a Halloween decoration. I changed the width of it and the length of it. So this is the middle point, and there you can see kind of how long it is. Maybe it's hard to show like I mentioned, and then I also decided to spread out the spiders so they would not just be in one line, but to have them be scattered throughout instead of all in a line, just to make it look more realistic, I guess. I originally had, when I first decided to modify this pattern, I had sketched out the size of the table runner that I wanted it to be, and I've showed this to you before. So this was my original plan of how big I wanted to make it. I know it's kind of hard to see, but maybe you can get a kind of an idea of what I had planned for it to look like. But when I got to the middle section right here, I laid it out on my table, and so I don't know how to just show you this very easily, but the middle section of my finished object here is actually only up here. I don't know if you can tell that, but this spot right here. So I was planning to make it much longer, and I decided that it was already going to be long enough at this point, with this being the middle section. So I reworked my sketch, which is here, and I made it quite a bit smaller. But it's still a lot bigger than the original. But I'm really happy with how the size of it now, and it looks great on our table. It just fits really well. I also decided to try to make some of the spiders face a different way. So the original pattern has all of the spiders facing this way. And as you can see, this one is going sideways. This one is also going sideways. And then the ones on the bottom are pointing the opposite way. I don't know if you can really tell, but you can kind of see that one, the head of the spider, is pointing down instead of up. Again, I just kind of wanted to change it up. It's kind of fun that there actually are 7 spiders on this table runner, and there's 7 people in our family. So that's kind of fun. And anyway, I just really loved working on this. It was fun. It was, quite fiddly because it is made with crochet thread and a very small needle or hook. I used a 1.8 millimeter hook, and the crochet thread, the ivory color, is Red Hart classic crochet thread in the natural colorway, and it's 100% mercerized cotton. And then the black is Aunt Lydia's classic crochet thread in black, and they're both size 10 crochet thread. So, that was a little bit, obviously, fiddlier than what I normally crochet. I normally crochet with much thicker yarn, at least fingering weight, if not worsted. So I, that was a bit of an adjustment because I don't make doilies a lot, but really I enjoyed this. And once I got the hang of the pattern, it was super fun to work up and mindless, really. I didn't even have to look at the pattern, after making up several of these. Although I did have to look at the pattern for the spiders. The spiders are especially fiddly. Making those 8 legs is a little bit fiddly, especially using black thread. It, you know, was more difficult to see the stitches and things. But anyway, I'm really happy with how it turned out. Oh, the pieces are all joined as you go according to the pattern. So you just join them in the very corners to each other. So that was really easy to be able to work them up as I went along. And then I also just sewed in I weaved in the ends after I finished each square, so I didn't have a ton of ends to weave in at the end, which was nice. So that worked out really well. Then I just wet blocked it, so I let it soak in plain water, lukewarm water, for about a half an hour probably. And then I pinned it out and sprayed it with spray starch and let it air dry. So that worked out really well. As I was making this, I thought, you know, if somebody was really adventurous, it would make a really cool shawl too, wouldn't it? For Halloween, just to have, I mean, it wouldn't give you much warmth, but it would just be a pretty accessory. It would take a long time though. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of detailed work there, and it would take a while to work up a piece that is big enough to wear as a shawl, but it would be a really beautiful piece, I think. So anyway, I'm super happy with this. I'm glad I was able to get it done in time for Halloween, and I'm excited to put it on our table once Halloween gets a little closer. So that'll be fun to add, and the kids think it's really fun, so that's great also. I think that is all I have to say for this project, but I'm just really pleased that I was able to work on that and get it finished. One more item that you have seen actually on the last 2 episodes, but I did add, I did finish this doily completely as I want it to be. So this doily is called Leylight. It is also a pattern by Julia Hart. And I had originally just made the center doily and entered it into my local county fair. But I wanted to mount it onto a ring so that I can put it up on my wall by this one. I'm not sure where I'll put it. I have a few other circular pieces. One piece that I embroidered, and then another cross-stitch piece that I picked up from an estate sale. So I have a total of 4 circular pieces that could all be put on this wall space together as kind of a, a collection of handmade pieces. I don't know how I'm going to arrange them. I don't know if I should just use these 2 or if I should add in. Let me show you the other 2 pieces. So here is the little embroidered piece that I made quite a while ago, but I did show it off on one of the episodes. Anyway, here's this little piece. And then this is, I think I also showed this off when I got it from the my neighbor's estate sale. So I believe that my neighbor's grandmother stitched this. She's over 100 years old and still living, but she had an estate sale because she is living in a assisted living residence now. And so she got rid of a lot of her prized possessions. Anyway, I just picked this up at the estate sale, and so I could put all 4 of these pieces together on this wall behind me, but I'm just not sure if how it will look. This one's kind of out of place because it's so light in color. These 3 kind of look better together. Maybe I'll just do those 3. I don't know. Give me your thoughts on what you think would work or how I should place them. I think I should probably make it more scattered, not like in a straight line, because that'll look kind of funny if they're all in a straight line, I think. Anyway, I don't know. I'll play around with it and see what I think works best. Oh, I wanted to give you some details about how I mounted it to this ring though. So this is a 9-inch ring that I got just off of Amazon. I unfortunately had to buy a pack of 5 of them for some reason. I just wanted one, but you couldn't buy just one, or it was cheaper to buy a pack of 5 than to buy just one. But anyway, I've got 4 extra rings that maybe I'll use for some other project down the road, who knows. Anyway, I just used the same thread, of course, and I did a single crochet stitch in between, or in the middle of each picot stitch, and then I did 20 single crochets, crocheting over the hoop as I went in between each picot. And then I just did a simple little chain loop at the end so that I can hook it onto that and hang it from the wall. So that worked out really well, and I think it made it lay. Again, this was kind of a trial and error too. I had originally tried 15 stitches in between each picot, but that wasn't enough, so you had to rip back and try again. It's always kind of a trial and error with projects like this, just to see what will work best, but it was pretty easy to mount it onto the ring, really. Crocheting over the hoop is a little bit awkward, you know, trying to hold the hoop and go around it, but it was fine. Okay, so those are all of my finished objects, and I actually only have one work in progress to share with you this time. And I'll explain why that is, that I only have one. I'm going to be casting on at least 2 new projects today, and I will share those with you. But the one project that I do have is pretty insignificant at this point also, but I thought I would just show it to you since it's the only project I have to share with you right now anyway. But anyway, this is being held in a sock sack that I got in a swap several years ago. It doesn't have the maker's name on it, so I don't have any information about that, but it works really well for a pair of socks, and that's what I have going in here. I cast on 60 stitches as well for these, and again I am doing a 2x1 ribbing, again using US 2mm needles, and the yarn that I'm using for these cuffs was gifted to me by Krista of Sweet Mountain Crafts, and it's in the Summer Snow Cone colorway. Here it is in the cake. So it's just got these beautiful bright colors, red, orange, and yellow colors, and lots of specks of red and things as well. It's just a really fun colorway. And then for the main body of the sock, so I'm planning on using this for the cuffs, heels, and toes. And then for the main body, I'm going to be using Knit Picks Felici in the Golden Hour colorway. And I just thought that those 2 colorways worked really well together. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing just plain stockinette for these or if I'll add a little bit of texture. I don't want too much texture because I just want this to be my mindless project that I can have for on the go. I'm planning on making these full length, not shorties this time. And yeah, I have a ton of Knit Picks Felici, and I don't use it as much as I should. So I decided to grab a couple of skeins of my Knit Picks Felici and work them up. So yeah, that obviously hasn't gotten very far, but as you can see, I do work my socks 2 at a time. I almost always do that. I really love the process of making my socks 2 at a time. I love that I can, you know, get them both done at the same time. If I happen to make a mistake, or, you know, I don't have to worry about one sock being longer than the other, or if I do something different than normal, having to try to write that down and remember what I did exactly because I'm just doing it all at once. And so I just love the process of making socks 2 at a time. So I am happy to have another pair of socks just on the go and ready to work on, but there's no hurry to get them done at any time. They're just kind of the project that I can have at all times to work on if I don't have the ability to concentrate on my project. But I am planning on casting on at least 2 new projects today. Unfortunately, one of my husband's cousins passed away the week before last. So I want to make prayer shawls for this cousin's mom and 2 sisters. So I have just gotten the yarn, and I'll go through what patterns I'm planning on making for these prayer shawls. So for the mom, I picked out this Garnet Heather colorway. These are all going to be on the same yarn, which is Knit Picks Swish Worsted. So it is a 100% fine superwash merino wool. And again, this colorway is called Garnet Heather. And the pattern that I'm going to be making with this colorway is called Void by Melanie Berg. And I just think it's a beautiful but simple pattern, and I just love the texture in it. and I think it will be easily wearable as either just a scarf or as a shawl. And I'm hoping that my husband's aunt will really enjoy that piece. So, and of course I'm going to be praying for these women while I make them. And it was a very sudden, it was an unexpected death, and so it's just, I can't even imagine how hard this would be for especially the mom to lose her son unexpectedly. I did, my brother passed away in 2019, so I kind of can relate to the sisters having lost a brother unexpectedly. But I think especially for the mom, it's going to be really hard for her to, just go through this grieving process. For the next shawl I'm going to be making, I picked out the Dove Heather colorway, and I'm going to be making the Hipster shawl by Locatelli. I've had this pattern purchased for many years, and I don't really know, I must have bought it when it was on sale or something like that, because I don't remember it ever being like a project that I had planned, oh, I'm going to make this with this yarn. I just bought it. So I bet I bought it when there was some sort of a sale. Anyway, I am really excited to work up that pattern. I think it's beautiful, and I think it's another one that's just really nice and wearable. I hope that it will be, especially in this nice gray color, I hope that it will be a really wearable shawl for one of the sisters. And then for the second sister, I picked out this colorway. It's called Nutmeg Heather. So it's just a nice, simple beige-like color, and I think it's really a pretty shade. And for her, I'm going to be making a pattern from this book that I have had for quite a while from Knit Picks. It's the Wood Smoke collection, cable collection, and I'm going to be making the Laura shawl. I don't know if I will add in the tassels or not. I don't think I will. I don't think I purchased enough yarn to add in the tassels. So the pattern calls for 12 balls of Knit Picks. Well, it originally is made in Wool of the Andes tweed, but I chose Swish, but it's the same yardage. Anyway, and it says that you should add one more ball for the optional fringe, but I think I'll leave off that fringe. It's also a pretty long shawl, but this sister is pretty tall, so she could get away with having a big shawl and it not like overpowering her. So I think I'll probably make it to pattern. But anyway, I am planning on, this pattern is by Allison Griffith. That's the designer's name. So I am planning to cast on at least 2 of these shawls today, so that I can have them ongoing. I may cast on all 3, we'll see. But I'm excited to start these, and I'm gonna try to put all of my other plans on hold until I get these done for those ladies. So I hope that will be a comfort to them, that it will just be like a big hug for them. That's what I love about prayer shawls and being able to make a project for somebody intentionally like that, is that I can pray for that person really intentionally. And then with a prayer shawl, I just think it can be so comforting to just wrap up in that and, feel like it's almost a hug from, just a hug of comfort and love. So I hope it will be that for these ladies. Those are all of the projects that I have to share with you besides my project bags. So if you have been waiting for me to finally get my Etsy shop update done, it has been so long. I don't even remember the last time I had an Etsy shop update, but I'm sure it was in the spring sometime. And I had intended to get this project bag update in my shop much, much earlier than now, but this is the largest update I've ever done, I believe. And I think I have a total of about 75 bags that are going to be going in this update. So that's a big update for me. And I think it was a little bit too big. I don't think I'll do such a big update in the future, because I like doing bigger updates because it's just more manageable for me to just do a big update all at once. But I don't like it taking quite so long in between my shop updates. And this one just took me a really long time to get through all of these bags that I had cut out. But I'm so thankful that they are done and ready to go in this shop. I know a few of you have been very patiently waiting for me to finally get this shop update ready, and so I thank you for your patience, and I'll just go through the different bags that I have going into my shop update. Oh, the shop update will be on Saturday, August 27th, so about a week from now, and it will be at 9 a.m. Central Time. So hopefully that time will be good to be convenient for the majority of the people that shop from my shop. So I will have 3 sizes of bags available, and I have 9 different fabrics. The 3 sizes that I have are my small. This bag is 11 by 8, so 11 inches wide by 8 inches tall, and it has a box bottom, which is a 4-inch. So just to give you an idea of how big it is, they are all drawstring. They all have interfacing, and they are all lined. They all have a pocket inside, and they all come with this clasp inside and have 6 closed stitch markers attached and included as well. For each fabric, I will have at least 2 of the small size, sometimes 3. So not a ton in each fabric, but at least 2 or 3 for each fabric. As you can see with this fabric combo, it's got this beautiful floral blue fabric. It's paired with a medium blue denim color. And then the interior is a light blue gingham fabric. And then for the medium size, these are 13 inches wide by 9 inches tall, and they have a box bottom that is 5 inches. So this one is probably my most popular size, I think, and it works really well for a 3 skein project about, I would say. I use this for sweaters quite often until they get too big, but I can hold a sweater in one of this size bag for quite a while before it gets too big. But if it is a pretty big oversized sweater, it does get a little bit too big for this size eventually. And I will have between 3 to 8 of the medium size in each fabric. It depends on, how much I had, how much fabric I had. And I have a new size for this shop update, which is this larger size. It is the same width as my medium size, so it's 13 inches, but it's just taller. So it is 14 inches tall, and again, it's the same width as well. It's also 5 inches, so it's just like the medium size, it's just taller. It's got 5 extra inches of height. But this one would work great for a sweater from start to finish. And you get an idea of how big it is there. So for this large size, since it's just my first time trying out this size and seeing how you all like this size, I didn't make a ton of these. I only made a couple of them in 3 different fabrics. So I have it in this fabric, obviously. And then the next fabric I have it in is this beautiful, I just love this fabric. It's got these cute little sparrows on it with the greenery. And then it has words of plant kindness, garden friends, grow in love written on it. It's paired with this natural colored canvas, and the interior fabric is coordinating with this sage colored leafy fabric. Some of the clasps are, instead of silver, they're this bronze, antique bronze color. And anyway, so I will have the large bags in this fabric, and all of the fabrics will come in all of the fabrics will come in the small size and the medium size, but only 3 of the fabrics will have this large size. I hope that makes sense. So this is the second one that comes in the large size. Here's just a glimpse of the medium size, but of course there's also the small size in this fabric. And then the last one that I have available in the large size is this combination, which I think is kind of a retro look, I think. I really like it. So this fun floral green fabric is paired with a darker denim. And the interior is white with white flowers. So it's kind of a white on white print. And this has the silver clasp on the inside. I really love this combo. I'm tempted to keep one of these. I don't know. It's so hard for me to choose what is my favorite, but here's a glimpse of the medium size in that fabric. Okay, the rest of the bags that I have to share with you will not be in the large size, so they're just going to be available in the small or medium size. The first one is this beautiful butterfly print. It has kind of a metallic gold part to it, if you can see that. And it's paired again with the canvas, natural colored canvas. And again, the inside of this one is that same white on white floral. And I have bronze paired with that for the clasp. Next is this fun fabric with these chickadees. I am a bird lover, so I'm always attracted to bird fabrics. And this is the only one that's paired with this striped canvas fabric, or it's probably called a duck cloth actually, not canvas. And the interior for this is this white and gray leafy fabric. And this has a silver clasp. Next I have this fabric, just a fun floral as well, with these pretty little cute little flowers in there. And it's paired with the medium shade of denim. And the interior is this yellow fabric with the white, I don't know what those would be called, designs. And the inside has the silver clasp. I just love this fabric so much, this floral yellow fabric. Again, paired with the medium denim, and inside is a fun yellow gingham and a silver clasp. And two more. This one is a beautiful floral fabric as well, paired with a darker denim. And inside is a fun teal colored or turquoise colored gingham fabric. Oh, and silver clasp. And lastly is this really fun fabric with these woodland creatures on it. So we have raccoons, foxes, squirrels, and hedgehogs, and these beautiful flowers. And inside I've got a teal colored fabric with white polka dots and the silver clasp. So those are all of the different fabrics that I will have in the shop update. Again, it will be August 27th at 9 a.m. Central Time. So if you are interested in that, please stay tuned for that shop update. If you would like to be added to an email list where I will send out an email letting you know, probably with a 48-hour notice or something like that, just so that you can put it on your calendar, or if you want to, set a timer or something like that, you sure can. And I'd be glad to send out an email to you to let you know when to remind you of that update. So if you want to let me know, just send me an email at my email address, which again is linked in the description box below, and I will be glad to add you to that email list to let you know when I do update my shop. I think that is all I have to share with you all today. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, I would love for you to subscribe to this channel and give me a thumbs up if you would like. I would appreciate that so much. I really appreciate you all joining me today, and I hope that you all are doing really well. Take care. Bye-bye.